Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Alright, so the question still remains. Is it working? Are the Democrats achieving what they want to with their rhetoric? Are they convincing the people that Kamala Harris is the right person for the job? Of course, you ask the average leftoid, and they'll say that this thing's pretty much done and sealed, but is it really? Well, not so sure about that one. I'm not exactly willing to go that far just yet. Again, the data seems to be telling a completely different story. Let's continue to take a look at what the Democrats are saying, what the sales pitch is, and whether it's having an actual significant impact. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright, so as we know, the Democrats have taken their stance. They've chosen their preferred rhetoric. The Democrat message for 2024 is, "My opponents are weird." The Democrat pitch for the presidency in 2024 is, "Elect me, elect us, elect the Democrat Party, because our opponents are weird, very weird." Well, let me ask you again the same question. How long is that kind of rhetoric gonna work when you tune into the leftist shills and this is the kind of thing that you're subjected to?
Haven't found the right partner. And Molly, it is the stats are there. More and more Americans choosing not to have kids, which again emphasizes why J.D. Vance's comments about childless Americans, childless cat ladies, could be so politically damaging.
Well, so what's interesting is this natalism that comes from an authoritarian playbook, right? That there need to be more white children, right? That's the idea that there's, this is about great replacement theory, racism, right? This is what this is. So don't misunderstand it for him wanting more children. He wants a certain kind of, racist thing. So I would say, it's certainly true. And attacking people for not having children is really cruel, right? Because some people can't have children. Some people, want to have children and, can't, miss the window way to go after people.
Yeah, it's so interesting. We live in this news cycle of politicians, people say stupid things, and then the parade moves on. This J.D. Vance parade is not going to move on. There was just something that hit a nerve with people. As I said, you use the word cruel, I use the word cruel, that I think Vance, I don't know if Vance is here in the end. We'll see.
Apparently, J.D. Vance suggesting policy proposals that would incentivize having children and preserving the nuclear family is essential proof that he's a racist and only wants white babies. An interesting take, to say the least, considering J.D. Vance is married to an Indian woman and has biracial kids. This is the Kamala pitch. This and everything else weird under the sun.
I'm white, I'm a dude, and I'm for Harris.
Over the last few years, I've been thinking a lot about men.
What a variety of whiteness we have here. With like a rainbow of beige.
He's a fraud. And J.D. Vance is his mini-me. I even created my own cognitive test that describes the two of them. Sofa, dolphin, shark, cats, convict.
A woman president, man. How exciting.
This is supposedly the campaign rhetoric that's gonna take them straight to the frickin' tippy top. You're a racist if you believe in families. You're inherently bad because you're a white male and you need to check your privilege. I mean, really, what's the message here? That white men need to be rehabilitated? And that everybody should vote for Kamala Harris because she smiles and dances?
There's uncertainty about whether or not they'll relapse, about what's going to happen with their life, And after about, 2 or 3 years of him regularly coming, he had moved back to be with my dad on the East Coast, but regularly coming back, and you'd kind of be like, oh, do you have work? Like, what's going on? He was always coming back to be with his men's group. I think they had more than white men in that group. So, but the idea that men can gather to talk about how we feel. Interesting, powerful concept. And the other side, they try and take everything that's good about us and demean it. Kamala Harris smiles. She laughs. She dances. She has joy. She's alive.
When we talk about the children of the community, they are children of the community.
And they try and ridicule her for that. And they try and undermine us.
Unironically, that seems to be the case. White men must repent and vote for Kamala because reasons. Who is this convincing? Again, that's the question I keep asking myself. We're seeing this rhetoric and supposedly there's this huge spike, but the reality is there's no actual substance. Vote for Kamala Harris because she dances and smiles and sings. Can one of these goofy liberals please explain to me in coherent terms why anybody should vote for Kamala Harris and stick to actual policies? You know, actual accomplishments? Well, apparently not, because there's really not that much to draw to.
Can you name a few of her accomplishments?
No, I can't.
What are some of her accomplishments?
I will say that everything that I've seen, I don't think that, no.
I honestly don't think she has any. The 4 years that she was in office as vice president, I didn't hear her speak once until like last week. So that's kind of my take on it.
You could go around asking people in the most far-left blue districts, please list Kamala Harris's accomplishments. Why is it that you're voting for Kamala Harris? And the answer is always the same. A blank, ignorant stare. There's nothing to point to. And that right there is where the question comes in. If there's nothing to run on except for all this clearly cringe nonsense that frankly has to have people's stomach turning, then what explains Kamala Harris's supposed rush in the polls? Well, my thought process is that I think we're seeing a couple outlier push polls, but in general, there is no Kamala Harris spike. The national head-to-head average still looks like this. When including independent candidates in a 5-way race, it looks like this. Are there a couple polls that shows Kamala Harris within striking distance? Sure, but the most recent Harvard-Harris poll, which is one of the most accurate pollsters and one of the most recently conducted polls, it shows Trump up by 4. And this comes after Rasmussen showed Trump up by 7. You know, it's kind of one of those situations where you're scratching your head, thinking to yourself, I don't know what to believe at this point. I'm not sure what's real. I think we need more data, but I'm inclined to believe that a lot of these wild numbers that we're seeing popping up on Twitter showing Kamala Harris with a 15-point shift in the matter of a couple days, I'm starting to believe that some of these polls are probably just push polls. All of a sudden, you're seeing in the crosstabs that Democrats are wildly overrepresented in the data. 38% Democrats, 31% Republicans, stuff like that, which at one point might have been accurate, but nowadays, just look at the Gallup data. More people are identifying as Republicans than Democrats, and a lot of these very competitive states have seen huge shifts in voter registration numbers. So essentially, there's two camps. You're either in the camp that believes Kamala Harris is spiking big time because of what Susquehanna and other pollsters are telling us, or you're looking at the data on Real Clear Politics that's isolating the data to only the top pollsters with the best track record, and in that world, Kamala Harris is still down. This huge media propaganda blitz, in my view, at some point is going to crash, because the talking points themselves are so incredibly cringe, vapid, frankly annoying. Eventually, their behavior should come back to bite them in the behind, at least in a fair and just world, which I will admit we don't exactly live in, but come on, who's this stuff convincing? You're a racist white male. It's all so 2015, it's boring, it's cringe, and it's becoming increasingly obvious that the Kamala HQ doesn't actually have a plan or a strategy beyond pathetic name-calling and vapid identity pandering. When your headquarters is resorting to playing clips out of context in order to make a totally dishonest point like this, Trump says that he sabotaged the bipartisan deal to secure the border because it, quote, made it much better for the opposing side.
Number one, that, but it also made it much better for the opposing side.
Regularized, managed the crisis.
You couldn't manage.
They play that little 8-second clip, totally distorting the context. Here's a little bit more context to that clip.
Why were you against the House, against the Senate border deal, the bipartisan border?
Well, they allow 5,000 people a week, but a lot of people took it as 5,000 people a day. They said 5,000 people a week, and you read it, and it says 5,000 people a day. Number one, that, but it also made it much better for the opposing side.
Regularized, managed the crisis.
You couldn't manage it. It was so complex.
It's obvious that Trump was probably referring to the other side, meaning the drug cartels and human smugglers. Not to mention he gave the actual reason why he advocated against the bill. They were talking about bringing in 5,000 immigrants in a day, essentially creating a legal pathway for the massive migrant caravans making their way towards the nation's southern border. They're taking Trump interview clips and deceptively editing them, and that's their platform. Eventually they're going to expose themselves as crazy weirdos who don't actually provide anything of value. So essentially the same thing as I've been saying in these videos. You know, let's just see where it takes us. They want us to press the panic button, well, I simply refuse. Let's see as more information drops, let's see where the polling data actually takes us. Right now it's too inconsistent and too early to tell. When it's time to press the panic button, I mean, we'll be there. But as of now, I mean, we're just simply not there. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.